Okay, so here we are. We're cleaning up the ear butts before we turn the ears, because if you're in the bush we've got to get the salt into this, and you can't have any meat. You've got to remove as much meat as you can from the deer, from the cape. So we're just removing the meat from around the ear butt, find the cartilage, we'll clean the cartilage up, and then we'll turn the ear. So you just keep working the skin away, any meat, just be careful when you get to the cartilage you don't cut it. We'll just keep working the meat down, because we've got to remove as much meat as we can from this deer, otherwise we will get hair slip. So we'll just keep working it down, and I'll show you the cleaned up ear butt with the cartilage on it when I've finished this one. Okay, so here we've got the cleaned up ear butt. You can see the cartilage at the bottom of the ear. There's the ear canal. We've taken most of the meat off. But a little bit of meat left on is fine, because the salt will penetrate into that, it won't go off. So now we've just got to turn the ear. Now when you turn the ear, I've got ear pliers, which make things a lot easier. You can do it just with a knife if you're very careful and using your finger, but we've got to peel that skin off the back of the ear there, right to the very tip, so the salt gets in there. And afterwards the taxidermist will put an ear liner or carbog in there to make a stiffened ear. So now we've got to just work the skin off the back. So you just slide your ear pliers in there and just slowly start to separate the skin from the cartilage on the back of the ear. And then you get it right as close to the tips as you can. You can see these do a great little job. They save a lot of work.
So that's just splitting the ear skin away from the cartilage, isn't it?
Yeah, yep, and we've got to work that right to the very tip without tearing the tip if you can. It can be repaired, but you can see just in that couple of minutes I've separated it like a sock. And you can use a knife just to clear it away a little bit till get it going. Just be very careful, because you don't really want to cut the ear unless you have to. Unless it's really important not to cut it up too bad, because they are thin, and the ears, although they can be repaired, it can be seen in some places. But you can see I'm going right to the very tip. And we'll work that all the way around, and I'll show you the end product. Okay, so we've got the ear turned. You can see on the outside it's fine, and the inside, it's just like turning a sock inside out. We've worked it fairly close to the edges, but the main thing is, if you're not sure exactly what you're doing, that's far enough. But when the taxidermist gets that ear, he'll turn them right to the very tips. But as long as we get salt in there, that ear should be fine. So there you go. We'll show you the salting process shortly. Okay, so here we are. We're back on the cape. I'm just splitting the lips to get the salt in there. Now you don't have to be too flash on this. It's just a matter of opening them right up so that the salt can get in. We can clean them up later, because salt actually toughens the meat a bit and makes it a bit easier. So if you zoom down on here, you'll see the lips are salted. There's still a bit of meat on them, but that'll come off after, once we've salted it. See, that's how the skin normally is, like that. And you've got to open up that inside so that the salt can get right into them thick lips. Now this meat, we can use a pair of scissors or a knife later on after it's salted, or even after it's tanned, you can get some of it off. So we've just opened the lips right up as close as you can to the edge of the lip, which leaves a much better finish, and you don't get as much shrinkage with no meat on them. And also we'll thin them down a lot further when they're tanned or out of the pickle, so that you don't get any shrinkage.
Same thing, Rob, if you see hair you stop?
Same deal, yep. Just got to be careful, it's very fine skin.
Yeah, well they've just got to be opened up so they're dead flat instead of having a lump in them.
Yeah, you can see there, that's the way it goes. We trimmed a bit off the corners of the mouth there, but that's the way it normally is. And that's when we've opened it up. And just keep cutting back, but be careful not to cut into the hair.
Yeah. And you've got to split the nose yet too, don't you?
Now we've got to split the nose and the eyes, and then it's done. So we'll show you that. So here we've got the nose of the chital deer. Now we're going to want to save the inside nostril skin. So you've got to be very careful here. not to cut into the hair or the leathery part of the nose pad, but we want to remove as much cartilage as we can. So there's a cartilage in the middle there. We've got to split down the middle of that cartilage and separate each of the nostrils. So we'll do that next. So you just got to, I've removed part of it already, so we'll just split down the middle. And that opens it up so that you can separate each of the nostrils. And then you've got to remove as much of the meat and cartilage as you can. As long as the salt can get in there, then the taxidermist can do the rest. But we'll try and separate as much as we can. So there you go. That's starting to open up now. You notice the more you cut into it, being very careful not to cut into the nose pad or the inside nose skin. You see it's starting to separate now. So we'll just keep working on that, and I'll show you the end result. Okay, we've got to start moving a bit faster here because the sun's drying everything out. We're in the bush, so what I've done is I've turned most of the nostril. I've got right into there so that we've got most of the cartilage out. Just thinning it down a little bit. Just remember, if you don't know where you're cutting, stop and have a good look, because you want to keep that inner nostril skin. You can see the inner nostril skin there. It might look a bit gory, but you can see that, and that's what you've got to save. That'll be tanned, and see that'll be tucked inside the form. When you cut the holes out for the nostrils in the form, you can tuck that skin in there, and we'll thin that all down and clean it up later on. But that's enough to get the salt in there and open it right up. Now we'll just start on the other one in a tick, but they've opened up really nicely, so that'll be good. All the cartilage is gone. It's looking pretty good. But I've got a flashing beam back home. I'll get that and thin them right down later on after it's tanned. It'll come up good. So there you go. That's one nostril done. I'll get it out. So there's the eye. There's the eye skin we're trying to save for a tuck. So we turn it over the other side. You've got to get right in against the hair follicles. If you can, open it up the same as the eyes, as the nose and the ears and everything else. So we'll just keep working that around till we got that skin exposed. But you've got to be very, very careful around the eyes. It's harder to fix. So you can see we're slowly opening it up. We're trying to get it right down to the very edge there to get the salt in. But we'll slowly work at it. Hopefully we'll get it done as quick as we can and get it salted down. So there you go. That's going around the edge of the eye into there, all the way around. We've got to open that up, and let's say this eye skin. So we've split the lips, nose, ears and eyes. We're battling against the heat here in the sun, so we're going to quickly do it. There's a bit of blood on the cape. That doesn't really matter. That'll come off later when we flesh it with a hand flesher or with a fleshing machine. So now we're going to just get the salt into it as fast as we can. You want to make sure you turn the ears inside out, and the lips and nose and eyes are inside out, because we've got to get the salt right in there and all around the edges. So we'll just start putting a bit of salt on. Plenty of salt. This is you can buy these 2 kilogram bags at the supermarket, and they work just as good as anything. Don't buy anodized salt, buy table salt, and we make sure that there's no edges folded over. Get it right to the very edges all the way around. Plenty on the ears, on the face, around the eyes and the nose and the lips. We've got to make sure that salt gets into everywhere. This will draw the moisture out and stop the bacteria. And in a day's time there'll be a lot of moisture coming out of this, so we'll replace the salt with fresh salt and put it in a hessian bag in the shade and hang it up. And it should be right for a couple of days until we get home. We just got to put plenty of salt on it. All the little spots. Make sure you pack it around the eyes and nose and the ears. It gets right in there. Make sure you get right into everything. And it should be right. So we'll get it done. Just got to make sure you rub it all into every little crease. Make sure there's no flies. And the hessian bag helps let the skin breathe still. You never want to put it in a plastic bag because they'll just sweat and they'll go rotten on you. So you just put plenty of salt on. Get it right in there. Make sure there's no rolled edges. Then we'll roll it up, put it in the Hessian bag and hang it in the shade. We should be right, but you can see if you miss one little edge, that'll go rotten. And hair slip and you ruin the cape, and after all this work you don't want to ruin the cape. So we'll get all that done, whack it in the Hessian bag. It's all done, so all these tips are brought to you by Robert Merton's Fish and Game Taxidermy, and we'll catch you next time.